Foxtel and our drama department are pretty tiny. There's me, I have a drama development exec, one currently on mat leave and her replacement, Kim Wilson, who's actually a writer, which is great, and an assistant. So it's small, but one of the advantages that that's had for us is that I report into our Executive Director of Television, Brian Walsh, who's a massive... Drama is the thing that he loves about his job, because he has to do all those businessy things that he doesn't want to do, but he loves dipping into drama because it's actually about making television. And it's really, that means that it's just us. It's not a large number of people that are making decisions on it. It's just a small group of people who are assessing everything that are coming in, knowing what it is that works for Foxtel. We now have one drama channel, Showcase. Soho, I think, disappears at the end of September or October, which means all drama will be in one place. So we have one, it's not one vision, but we're all united in what it is that we want to achieve. And so when things come in, we want a diverse slate across many genres, but we're specific about the genres we look at. Relationship/family dramas aren't something that I seek, particularly because if you look at network television, you'll see that they've been pretty well served by that genre, whether it's Offspring or Puberty Blues even, Time of Our Lives, Winners and Losers. That space is covered there. So for us, most of the scripts that come in or proposals are very similar. And as I said before, if it's on free-to-air, we're not going to tick off on it. Having said that, we do have family relationship drama. As I said yesterday, that's our Wentworth. So that you can see that we will do genres that are on television, but we'll do it in a Foxtel kind of way. And it really is a family drama, just saying. We don't really seek out, well, we haven't in the past, but we'll keep an eye on it at the moment, and that's the crime, and particularly true crime. That's because at the time we started doing this 4.5 years ago, I think the world in Australia was underbellied out, and we just had years of it, and it was people trying to mine those stories and find those hard stories, and they're not that different to tell. So we stepped away from that, and also, like with crime, I don't think we write great crime for television. There are great crime novels, and they don't always adapt well into television because I think it's compared to so much that we buy in anyway, and it's procedural. And honestly, we've never had a great script come in for a crime show. They tend to be, there's not much different. So what would fit into it would be the Kettering incident, because that is actually crime, and there are detectives following it, but it's got, I'm trying not to give anything away. It's the otherness of it, the supernatural, and the weird things that start happening. So that's, if we were looking at doing crime, it would have to stand out and be different. Thinking outside, I hate that expression, I'm going to say thinking outside the square, but you know what I mean. So no, we don't look for crime at the moment. We love the idea of doing more otherworldly, the speculative fiction, and Kettering has been really helpful for that. When we decided to do that 4 years ago, I was going, oh God, I really want it to work, because if we can make this work, more people in Australia will make more of it. Not just us, but other networks. And the more we do it, the better we'll get at it, and the more people who are writing, who work on crews, lighting, directors, the more chance they get at working on it, the better the whole of the industry will be. So it's been yay for Kettering. So I'm always waiting for the right ones to come in. The thing that we look at is make it Australian. In the beginning there, I got vampire pictures, and then it was werewolves, and it's angels, and I'm just like, these are all not our stories. Find the mythology that's Australian and adapt it to it and make it that way. So we're waiting for that. I'm not going to do one set on Mars. Love my science fiction, but I can't see how it's an Australian story unless it's like a community of people and relationships transported to a colony on Mars. And honestly, I saw Terra Nova, really disappointed. Not enough dinosaurs, all about relationships. So not in that area. We look for also book adaptations. I mean, everybody in the world, if you can find a great book to adapt, because it's an inbuilt audience, but it's got to be right again for Foxtel. We've currently got, I was going to say 2, we might even have 3. I think, yeah, we do. We have 3 shows in development. One's actually been greenlit by us, but I can't announce it yet, which is based on a very classic Australian book. And it's in schools, which also helps, but it's iconic. So we look very much for the iconic story that speaks to Australia, it just speaks to our sensibilities, it speaks to the mythology that we've already keyed into. We've got another one in early stages of development, but that's from a writer actually based here in Byron, which is pretty exciting. And it's about, no, I can't say what it's about because you'll know immediately what the book is. And we have another one quite a long way in development, which is based on a trilogy. Actually, I can say that one because I think it's already been, that was Grand Days, the Frank Hardy trilogy. So, yeah, so we're looking at that. So, yeah, those are the other ones we look at. So those are broadly the genres that we don't do biopics because Channel 7 and Channel 10 have done a biopic. I'm not looking for a musical. We do get pitched shows with music in it, and I just wouldn't go near it with a 10-foot barge pole. And comedies, if we to look at comedy, think the half hour, like you'd see on HBO, Veep, well not Veep, Girls, Transparent, that would be the kind of space that we'd be looking at. It would be on Showcase with the other great dramas. You know, at that time with Gallipoli, I think everybody was Gallipoli'd out. We knew that before this even went to air. But one of the things we chose to do was to do it from a different point of view, and so that was from the 4 journalists. And so every scene in the 4 hours, one of the journalists at least has to be in it. So it was always from a point of view of a journalist, which meant you didn't see hours of the relentless trench warfare. You saw the behind the scenes, but you didn't see the officers, all the things you've seen before. You didn't see decision-making processes taking place on what battles to fight unless the journalists were there. And using their words was very important, and the writers involved in Deadline Gallipoli took it incredibly seriously. There were a lot of women writers. There was Jack Persky and Kate Shortland, and I think, and the producer Penny Chapman was a woman, and I think that it was interesting the different take that the whole production came because it was female, I think, as opposed to being very male. And yeah, anyway, it was great because it was about writing for writers. It was a wonderful piece of television, though I wish more people had seen it, but I understood there were 500 Gallipoli programs on last year. And Secret City, also a book adaptation, but just so you're aware for any of those of you who are novelists who are hoping to have your book adapted, that was based on 2 books written by Steve Lewis and Chris Yeoman, both political correspondents, gave us massive access to a whole lot of people in Parliament House and shooting. But their book was a satire with very much a comedy, and we turned it into a political thriller with very little comedy. And the lead was a guy called Harry Dunkley, and in our show it's Harriet Dunkley, played by Anna Torv. So a book adaptation, just be aware that sometimes it's going to look completely different. So you do have to give your baby away. So that means, as I said before, find your people. Writers, find the producers that you can work with, which will probably take me to how do we get pitched? In the main, I'll be really honest, we get a lot of unsolicited, a lot, and we read everything and send replies to everybody. But truthfully, I can't recall one of those that's ever gone through the whole process and gone through to be greenlit. We do, some of them are great ideas, and we will send them to suggest that they should go to a production company, find a producer you can work with to help you develop it into television, or state funding bodies, places like Screen New South Wales, suggest that they might be able to help you screen Australia, because a great idea is just that, it's a great idea. You need to know how that great idea can become 6 hours of television, and I can sit there and look at it, but I'm going, I need you to do more work. Don't send in books, don't have time to read them, but a great book is a great book, but how is it going to be 6 hours of great television? So normally we get phone calls from producers or emails from producers that we know. Sometimes there are contacts through, I know when Vincent came in to see me in August 2012 about the Kettering incident, it was because Amanda Higgs had suggested it. And so that happens a lot in the world. So it's, again, finding producers you can work with, and they should know. They know more now. They should know what it is that we're looking for. They should know how to talk to us and how to pitch in. And look at whoever you pitch to, whether it's us or Seven or Nine or the ABC, you must know those networks. You must look at what they're commissioning and what they're putting on air and what their expectations are, and go in and pitch accordingly. One of the most frustrating things for all of us on the other side is going, I know you've pitched this to somebody else because you've written it for Channel 9. You can tell it's written for Channel 9, it's not written for Foxtel. And honestly, if you don't have Foxtel and you're coming in to see me, lie and say that you watch it and you know the channels. There's no points for saying you haven't watched it, because you're going, I always go, I actually said, couldn't you have just lied and said yes? But anyway, so again, so we do meet, we have a lot of meetings, there are places like this we come to and we get a lot of pitches afterwards. As I said, we read everything. We try and give informed answers back afterwards. We have massive aspirations going forward to create more drama. We've currently got 2 returning series, Wentworth and A Place to Call Home. We'd like to ultimately increase it to 4 per year, but finding this bit's not easy. Not just because we want to have 4 a year, there are limited lifespans for every TV series. And we'd like to get 4 or 5 event minis, and event minis are our big event ones. They're the ones that get the most media talking about. That's the Deadline, Gallipoli, Secret City, Kettering at this stage. The noisemakers, the disruptors that make people go, oh my God, I have to have Foxtel, I'm dreaming. But they say that, or the people that have it go, oh my God, I'm glad I've got it. So we're looking to those, and that's where your book adaptations, the iconic stories, the, not serial, but like Kettering, the really out there ones, they will sit. The Devil's Playground, the confrontational kind of event miniseries, that's where we sit. So that's what we're looking for. Always looking for, and we currently have about 8 shows in development, different stages of development, which is quite a lot. I'd say probably 6 of those will get to be greenlit. We are one of those people who will spend a lot of money in development and then decide we're not going to go ahead with it. It's better to do it and be honest and straight up, and oftentimes that's just because somebody else has got ahead and done it themselves. We've done that a couple of times with shows and thought, yep, no, ABC's doing it now, or Channel 10's doing it. And what else? I think that's pretty much it in terms of, and it's across the slate. We've got book adaptations, we've got drama, we've got a political thriller, we've got some crazy nun stuff. So it's very, very diverse, and it's with a large number of either independent producers or the big producers. So that's, I've got one, Wentworth. And Wentworth is my favourite because it was the first one we did that really made a big noise. And it's a really good example of writing in terms that we have a location for Wentworth. We've got a second one now, but you can't tell. And the writers are on location. So they're sitting there and they can go down and walk around the prison. They can talk to the directors as it's being shot and the actors. And so the writing gets better and better because they're writing for characters they know. So there's a truth in it. And but they've got the space there. Big print's really important. And so because everybody's working well together, I think that's why it's so incredibly good. So it's writing, it does start with writing with Wentworth. It's very forensic. There's a lot of writer's room, there's a lot of storyboarding, there's a lot of plotting, but it's there. So anyway, writers, we love you. So yes. It is definitely an adaptation, but it was a weird reimagining because it came from Prisoner. And that was one of those ones that was an email that Brian sent to me, and I was on holiday in Hawaii, and it just said, what do you think? And then I got back, and within a few weeks we'd had the meeting and we decided to do it on a handshake with Fremantle. And then we had a writer's room less than 2 months later, and in one day we worked out what we were going to do for Wentworth. We had 2 people in the room, Michael Adato and Andrew Mercado, both of whom are mad soap fans, but both of them had watched every single episode of Prisoner at least once, and there are 692. And so we could mine the stories, but we were really, we knew that the legacy of Prisoner was huge, and the fans can be not always feral, but sometimes, but madly passionate about it. So we had to come up with a way. And many people had tried before, so it was a weird one, but we decided to make it a prequel, but set now, and to start the origin stories of all the characters, but change the characters in some sense, but as long as the essence was there. Like Bee's probably the truest, because she was, she's our story in that first season, but changed many of the others, but kept the essence of it. Because we knew that, and we didn't tell anybody about what we were doing for months. I called it Summerhill. It was called Summerhill on all the documents, because I live in Summerhill, but we didn't want anybody that knew Prisoner to know we were doing it. And it was the satisfaction was seeing those scripts, and then when it went to air that first time, there's always little touches to Prisoner the whole way through, but it had to be something completely different, which is why there's only one scene in all the 5 seasons of that song, He Used to Bring Me Roses, and that's Jack singing it, and you just hear it coming through his cell, and that was the only time. So little touches like that to please the existing, and then finding new ways to go forward. I mean, for seasons, we're just shooting season 5 at the moment, but we're storing and plotting for season 6 as we do it, because it's really helpful when you're doing long seasons to arc over many seasons. And so we know that we've got 2 really great, iconic Prisoner characters coming in for season 6. Yeah, they'll go mad for it. And they may not look the same as the ones in Prisoner, or maybe a little bit different, but there'll be some, normally dark, essence of them that will be in there. So yeah, so short answer, yes, it is an adaptation. So yeah.